Welcome to the Robert Hunt Financial Market Update. It's your host, Robert Hunt, where I look at the week's financial news that can be a bit confusing, misleading, and take care, of course, to make it actionable, understandable, and clear. What a week, therefore, what a show. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. My agent, his agent, cut a deal. We're bringing back Nelson Hunt, the estate lawyer, tax expert, to discuss Trump accounts, the solution that was found, the green light that was given. We're also going to be looking at, one of my pet topics, individual security performance versus the index overall. So you think you want to be a stock picker. One of my favorite games. We'll look at some data that will hopefully convince you otherwise. And then we settle in to a fraud situation. Now, this fraud situation rhymes with so many others, and so I hope we can find lessons in it that are applicable while also having a soft heart for a lot of the folks who lost a ton of money on the sale. But at the top, let's see if we can get the switchboards going. Would you would you bring Mr. Hunt on the line, please? Yeah, our people are going to start to beep, beep, boop, beep, boop, boop, beep, boop, beep, beep. And amazingly enough, are you there, Mr. Hunt, Mr. Nelson Hunt? Are you on the line?
I am here.
Fantastic. So great that the switchboards and the call operators patched us through. We're circling back, Mr. Hunt. We so appreciate you coming on the show a couple weeks ago. Hope you got the gift for your appearance. Did that check arrive in the mail?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. We love to grease the palms of those who appear on our show. And the car should arrive any day now. I wouldn't be surprised if the automobile we gave you an But this is as exciting as it gets in the estate tax world. I'll let you take that.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, I'll let you receive that comment for what it is. But we had you on 2 weeks ago, and normally things don't move this quick in your industry. But here you go. We both concurred that let's wait on these Trump accounts. And it could have been that the IRS chief was listening to the podcast, either read your memorandums that you've circulated, but tell us what happened in the last couple weeks. What is the news for the listener?
Yeah, well, the IRS on the Monday before the 4th of July issued what's called a revenue procedure, where they provided some guidance on making gifts to Trump accounts and gave us, not really what I was anticipating, but gave us some helpful guidance that in general says that if you're making gifts to a Trump account, which we know that you can make gifts up to $5,000 to a Trump account, that gift alone will not require the filing of a gift tax return and will not use up any of your lifetime gift tax exclusion. And by way of background, we've covered this before, but the law as written when this was enacted last summer was silent on the gift tax aspects, and the result was probably, as Congress wrote it, that gifts to these accounts would have triggered a gift tax return filing environment. So everyone had been wondering what was going to happen. Was Congress going to change the law? Was there going to be some kind of fix? And finally, Monday before 4th of July, IRS came out with this guidance.
Excellent news. And I'm always curious, how does something like this get by the referee? Why was there not a Nelson Hunt in the room to raise their hand? Why did they have to do, like, in the future, will they not have these oopsies, or is this just the nature of the federal government? What can the listener expect here?
I really don't know. I guess all I'd say is they're rushing to get the bill out, and you'd have to talk to whoever the staff
we'll get them on.
person was.
We'll get them on. We'll get them on. We'll see what was going on. Well, that's great news, because what we hear from this side of the table is that all systems go. We can go to the Trump Gov website, whatever it is. You probably remember it. And we can, trumpaccounts.gov, and we can sign up for our accounts. And then the one little ditty that I think you, in our pre-show call, which, listener, we're pretty professional over here. We did a pre-show call for you, the listener. One thing that Mr. Hunt brought up that I thought was important was there is something to be mindful of for those who are in the habit of giving these annual exclusion gifts where they give 19 grand a year, which is the amount you can give this year without having to file a gift tax return. You can't do that plus your $5 grand in the Trump account. They're gonna, that exceeds the deal, right? Mr. Hunt?
Yeah, that's right. So this safe harbor only works if you stay under the $19,000 annual exclusion in the aggregate. So you're right. If you were already making a $19,000 gift to an Atma account or a 529 account or just writing a check, you can't, on top of that, give $5,000 into a Trump account. Or if you could, but if you do, that's going to be a taxable gift. You're going to have to file a gift tax return.
Well, we did it. We did it. And who knew that two men could change the course of the entire nation? But we spoke on a podcast. The Internal Revenue Service listened, and now you, the listener, and your children and your children's children will have access to these Trump accounts. And I just has by way of reminder, this is not Mr. Hunt's specialty, but irrespective of your political proclivities, it is the case whether you're a Democrat or Republican. Can Democrats also fund these accounts, Mr. Hunt? Is that right? Is this bipartisan in nature?
I believe so.
That's good to know.
I don't know if any of them will, but
I've noticed that. I noticed a little hesitance, but what I'd encourage those who don't love Mr. Trump, look at the merit of the programming, seek to overlook, because I think a great point is, does anyone remember who Senator William Roth is? Does anyone ever bring that name up to you when they fund their Roth accounts? I don't think so. And people probably don't remember, was he a Democrat or a Republican? People don't think about it. It's just a Roth account. Now, I'll confess Trump is a bigger name, but I'd say use the accounts on their merit. And thank you, Mr. Hunt, for coming on this show. Is there anything else that the listeners should know in this fast, ever-changing, exciting industry you find yourself in?
No, but if something pops up, I'll let you know.
We will fire up the alarm. Wee-oo, wee-oo, wee-oo. Emergency. Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Hunt. We hope you're having a great summer, and we look forward to seeing you back in the neighborhood the next time we need you.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me on.
All righty. Bye-bye. And what a great call with Mr. Hunt to be able to have someone in your corner who you can go to find clarity where there isn't. Hope he comes back on the show. Hope he's a part of our neighborhood in future episodes. We're now going to look at, so you think you want to be a stock picker. One of our favorite games. Did you know, listener, that even yours truly, even this podcaster, I get tempted to be a stock picker? You'd think I'd be cured of this disease, stock pickitis. It's a disease that a shot doesn't cure, a pill doesn't cure. There's one, well, there are probably many cures, but the one cure for me is to look at the SPIVA report, the data that shows professionals failing, and then to look at individual securities and their performance against an index. That's what we're going to do right now. So if you've got stock pickitis or you have a friend that might have it, symptoms of this might be at a cocktail party mentioning how well they did on individual stock, or telling a story about a relative who did really well on individual stock. These are signs of stock pickitis. Bring them in the room on this one. Go ahead. Bring them in. They might probably buy their Bloomberg terminal or at their iPhone app looking at individual securities. They're going to want to listen to this one. So this is Mr. Ben Carlson on the X.com platform. Listen to these drawdowns from the highs. Now, when I say this, from the highs, these are how far did a stock fall from its recent high to its present price. Micron, down 25%. Microsoft, down 27%. SanDisk, down 31%. SpaceX, ever heard of it? Down 33%. Netflix is down 45%. And Oracle, down 60%. Now, and oh, by the way, the backdrop, what Mr. Carlson says, and the S&P 500 is at an all-time high. So some of these companies had absolute crash outs here. And yet the S&P 500, for those indexers out there, you hardly noticed it. You hardly noticed it. And one of the things these individual securities had in common is they were all kind of part of this tech thing. Okay, I thought tech was can't miss. I thought memory was can't miss. I thought Microsoft was can't miss. Now SpaceX is a new entrant. I know I've highlighted them before. That's a rough go, down 33%. I don't care who you are. That's tough. And Netflix and Oracle down 60%. They're leaning into the data center thing. They're leaning into AI. It ain't easy, kids. So for those stock pickitis folks, hope that cured you for the week. I know it helped me out, because what's really tough, and this is the game you've got to play if you want to be an individual stock selector. You've got to hold on to these now. You can't bail now. If you went all in on Oracle, your thesis probably hadn't changed. Stock market doesn't like it. Mr. Market, as Ben Graham taught us, maybe Mr. Market doesn't like it, but guess what? You got to hold it. You can't just bounce here, there, and yonder, because then you're really in bad shape. And moreover, you also have all these behavioral problems, these psychological problems. In your mind, you think the stock remembers when you bought it. This is a great problem I see in myself and in others. People want to get back to their basis. People think the stock cares about their basis. It doesn't. The stock market doesn't know who you are, and these companies don't know who you are. Microsoft has a lot of shareholders, a lot of shares sold out today. They do not care that you're underwater. Neither does Oracle, neither does Netflix. So believe it or not, the best thing to do would be liquidate, go to the index, be done with it. But I rarely see that happening. I think it gets harder the more you leg into these individual securities and hope for the best. So let's keep our investing simple. You never thought you'd hear that. Let's keep it simple. The index is simple. Doesn't put the joystick in your hand, takes the joystick out of your hand. And then all you have to do is nothing. As I've mentioned previously, you just have to be an ostrich. How hard is that? Just stick your head in the sand. That's all you got to do is stick your head in the sand. Ostrich investing. Nothing better. We're then going to look at a Dallas Morning News article, and it is headlined, "Businessmen Ordered to Pay $400 Million in a Fraud Case." This is by Jane Harper. This duo promised a luxury waterfront development that was never built. This is a shocking one. I guess they are. It's a 400-acre waterfront development. It looked like an oasis in the heart of Central Texas. Turned out to be a little more than a mirage. So what these folks did is they got a bunch of really pretty glossy materials showing cobblestone streets and shops and restaurants and parks. They sold the dream. They showed a canal where boats would dock beside waterfront restaurants. I mean, they took out the driver and they sold it hard. But wouldn't you know it, it wasn't real. And these two Frisco businessmen, you might know Frisco, a suburb here in the Metroplex, they took a lot of people and took their money. So a jury in Williamson County ordered Gopala Krishnan and Saktival Gunder to pay more than $400 million in damages to a Georgetown business that sold in this land and was hired by these defendants to bring water, sewer, roads, electricity. Wouldn't you know it? This journalist reached out to their lawyer, didn't respond, reached out to them, didn't respond. Brutal. This property was in 400 acres of mostly cornfields and pasture land. It sat along a river called the San Gabriel River, which slows to a trickle in the summer months. It does not look like Amsterdam, as the defendants suggested. So what do we take from this? Well, the first thing is that the dream can be really appealing. And I suspect, I don't see it in this article, but I suspect they promoted returns that were just as appealing. I'm looking at this picture right now. I mean, it looks like one of the nicer resorts you'd see in Austin, on Lake Austin, or some other, it's got a wooden boat. I mean, it looks choice. And these folks just were not transparent about what was going on. I'd add, if you had done a little homework on these guys, reputation matters. It really matters. So, wouldn't you know it, these folks, this was not their first time. In 2023, the SEC, they obtained a temporary restraining order and asset freeze for an investment group that these guys created with another partner. So if you had just done a little back history on, hey, are these guys good people to partner with? The business was called Nanban Ventures, and it targeted Indian Americans in Dallas-Fort Worth area. These two guys, Christian and Gunder, they had no investment experience and had previously worked IT jobs. They collected $130 million from their investors. The federal court filings show in this other case, the men were ordered to pay back a fraction of the money. In the SEC case, $4.3 million for Christian and $1.3 million for Gunder. So some of those tried and true rules come in, which is if you're going to trust someone, they better have a reputation worthy of putting that trust in. And then, boy, this is not simple investing. Doesn't mean people can't do fun projects. Doesn't mean you can have wooden flat bottom boats that pull up and you can fund it. I really want to do my homework on the people proposing they can pull it off, and I probably just wouldn't do it. I'd probably go back to our friendly index fund that never promotes these sorts of things to us. And that's one of the reasons why these deals are appealing, is if it gives you a sense of agency that you otherwise wouldn't have, and let's face it, we all can be that way. Hey, I get to be a part of creating a waterfront villa with boats in the middle of nowhere, and I was the one that saw it. No one else saw it. I saw it. I was the visionary. Our egos can make us blind to things we otherwise wouldn't be. This is why advisors are important. Nay, I say maybe hourly financial advisors are important. People that just have no emotion in the deal at all. They're not doing the deal. They don't care about whether they'll make money or not on the deal. They can, with some lucidity and clarity, look at something and say, yeah, no, not worth it. But you need somebody on your team to help you not do that. It doesn't have to be an hourly financial advisor. It could be a spouse or a cousin or a friend. Somebody who can just look at it, or someone who has experience, even better, someone who has experience in these types of deals. Otherwise, lots of money goes bye-bye. And I was listening to a Warren Buffett interview this week, and he was detailing investment returns for and how brutal a zero is. So he said, what if you earn a 16% return, then a 30% return, then a 22% return, then a 19% return, then a zero? You get a zero in the last year. None of the other returns mattered. I think we can sometimes focus too much on getting, we want a really high rate of return every year, when avoiding the zero might be the most important thing you can do in your investing life. Just avoid the zero. Let's say you only get a 6% return. That's okay. 7% return, that's okay. Did you avoid the zero for the year? Great. As long as you don't zero out and have to start all over, as long as you can keep hacking, and a lot of that means just don't put all your money in one deal and don't borrow a lot of money, you'll be okay. But that was one of Buffett's 3 rules of investing. Rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, don't lose money. Rule number 3, refer to rules 1 and 2. He was being dogmatic. He was making a point. Andrew Carnegie, I read his autobiography. He had peers, and they got caught up in the railroad boom and co-signed loans. They got zeroed out. They were doing just fine. They were big-time businessmen, peers of Andrew Carnegie, and they got zeroed out because they co-signed on railroads. They did something that could take them to zero. So the next time you're pitched a waterfront deal and you feel like you just have to do it, put in the minimum. Put in the minimum. Maybe you can get that psychic benefit of feeling like you saw it and no one else did, but not have the devastating existential risk of losing it all. And keep that little saying in your head when that pitch deck comes your way. Let's keep our costs low, our investing simple, and our time horizon long, because that is what's going to give us the best shot on our investing journey. Until next week.